7 out of 11 ain't too bad, as one movie dominated at the Oscars last night, winning almost everything in Hollywood all night long.
Love ya. Get home safe, guys. Peace.
My name is Kev, and welcome to our annual Oscar review show. If you're joining us for the first time, well, we are Geekcentric, a podcast celebrating the world of movies, television, gaming, toys and collectibles, and all things Geekcentric. The envelopes have been opened, the statues have been claimed. Today, we're focusing on that world of movies as we discuss all the winners and losers and the biggest news emanating from the 95th Annual Academy Awards show. But first, I clearly can't do this on my own. Joining me today are a couple of award-worthy podcasters that don't need tuxedos to look good. Justin, Nate, how are we this evening?
And the Oscar for Best Ass goes to Jenny.
Justin called it. He called it. He said Jenny was going to be there.
Jenny was going to show up on stage.
While it wasn't actually Jenny, no, I got to give... yeah, I mean, I think flying a donkey over from Ireland is a big ass.
It's a bit much.
Yeah.
And even to say that you're going to do it, I don't know. People outright on Twitter were just like, that is not the real Jenny.
Ruining the magic. What, does she have like a beauty mark somewhere that somebody on the internet, some nerd, was able to look up?
I could see it.
Gosh.
I could see it in Colin Farrell's eyes that wasn't.
He knew.
Wasn't quite as connected to that.
That's
donkey.
not the Jenny I know.
That's not my donkey.
Is that Shrek?
Donkey.
It's hard not to, I guess, when you're talking about donkeys. Now, if that intro seemed a little shorter than usual, I'm just keeping with the theme of last night's Oscar telecast. Though the show ran 30 minutes over its projected runtime, 3 hours was never a realistic goal. I did find that the show was shorter than in years past, and actually had a really, really nice flow to it. They, it's amazing that it was shorter, even though they went back to the traditional formula of presenting all 24 awards. So I think kudos to the whole production team there for keeping the show moving. Speeches were kept, I think, by the winners to reasonable lengths, but also they were given time to celebrate their moment. So it was really well done.
I think they were given time for some of the awards. I do think that, because I think it's supposed to be 45 seconds, but that was not consistent. And there were some moments where even we got audience reactions of just different people reacting to the fact that someone would get cut off and they kind of got upset, or, it was, I don't know. For me, I was just like, let the people talk. Like, just let them talk.
I think for some of the technical awards, when you have 6 or 7 people that are going up on stage, to be frank, you need to have someone that is going to be the voice, that is going to give the speech and thank everyone on behalf of the collective group. I agree. Everyone deserves their time to kind of shine on this stage. But I think the time that was given to the winners that I think people are watching to see, like the winner of Best Actress and Best Actor, Best Supporting Actor and Actress, like they want to see those speeches. And rightfully so, they did not disappoint.
No, absolutely. I think the one interesting moment or part was that they seemed to give the winners for Best Animated Short an abundance of time, and then when it was time to present the live action short, it was just like, okay, you got about 2 seconds, now get the hell off the stage. But no, otherwise...
Yeah, the lovely ladies for the Elephant Whisperers, as an example, right? We got only one of them was able to actually... talked and celebrate that moment. And so, yeah, I found it inconsistent. And that was the biggest problem. Listen, if they had said, if it was straight up like, 45 seconds is the time, and they used up the 45 seconds, then sure. But
dance them off.
Nobody got danced off, damn it.
Nobody got... Dude,
no, I was so disappointed.
I wanted to get danced off so bad. But can we talk about that intro? I want to get into that. That was awesome. The way that they introduced this year's Oscars, I thought... The focus on how movies are made was beautiful. I thought it was such a wonderful tribute to pay homage to the people and talent behind the movies. I was getting a bit emotional. They start blending in the Wakanda Forever music, and I was like, oh my gosh, like this is a really cool way to introduce. And then, you know, Tom was still there technically. You know, Tom Cruise made an appearance, not in reality, but with Jimmy flying in. I thought that was a great way to do it.
Yeah, I'm always a sucker for the montages that the Academy puts together. I will say that while the intro montage was really great, I was hoping that we would see a little bit more of that throughout the rest of the show. But I think for time purposes, that's probably why we didn't see, like, you know, supercuts of things. But that said, I agree with you, Nate. I think the supercut at the top of the show was such a great sentiment of what a great year of movies we've had. Celebrating all movies. Even these movies that we didn't necessarily see get nominated, they at least showed up in this supercut because, you know, they did the thing. They made the movie theater experience a thing again in 2022.
Absolutely. And then, you know, the great moment with Jimmy Kimmel sort of inserting himself into the Top Gun movie. We were saying last night, it was very reminiscent of the old days when Billy Crystal would host and he'd put himself in all the Best Picture nominations and stuff like that. It was an awesome way to do that and an awesome way to start the show. I thought, you know, like, honestly, in my opinion, the biggest surprise of the night was that there weren't really any big surprises, unless, of course, you were as surprised as I was that John Travolta didn't accidentally introduce Lumi Kruvik instead of Lenny Kravitz before the In Memoriam segment.
Yeah. I think I love getting to see, now that you've ruined the magic for me, not as much, Jenny on stage. I thought was great, but like, I will say I was a little. I kept going back and forth with Kimmel's performance in this one. I kept going sort of like, I think the when he was interviewing the crowd, and he goes up there with Mullally, and he's asking her about, you know, what's his name, spitting on Chris Pine
or Harry Styles spitting on Chris Pine.
Dude,
yeah.
like, come on, like, no, like, she fought through it as hard as she could.
Her
gave
response
a great
was
answer.
great. If that was
Her response was
Absolutely.
perfect. She gave a
Absolutely.
perfect response, and he didn't keep going at it with her,
I
like
guess.
trying to
but then
find out more. He
Cocaine
just
Bear
walked
comes
away.
in and starts attacking her, and I was just like, come on.
Yeah, no, it did feel a little
lowbrow.
slapsticky.
Yeah.
A little lowbrow, slapsticky at that point. I think Kimmel was great. I think right off the top, he kind of matched the tone of the rest of the show. He set the bar. He addressed the obvious of a crisis team that's in place. They had some fun analogies for, you know, if you go too long, we'll dance you off stage. I really wish we saw someone get danced off stage. That would have been great. But, you know, I think the comedy that he used throughout the show, like, it poked fun at the crowd, but it didn't go too far. I think there was one joke that did kind of land like a ooh,
Which was do what you did last year. Nothing.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I mean, to be fair,
Yeah.
that followed what was probably one of the best jokes of his opening monologue. You know, if anybody in this theater commits an act of violence at any point during the show, you will be awarded an Oscar for Best Actor and permitted to give a 19-minute long speech.
But I did like how he was able to cut that tension, cut that awkwardness by getting back around to the joke of, like, well, if you want to get to me, you know, you've got to go through Michelle Yeoh. You got to go through The Mandalorian. You got to, like, I really enjoy, you know, Spider-Man, and we got the Fablemans. But I love that we got that meme now that's going around with Andrew Garfield,
just
right?
did
With
the
just
smirk.
the face. Oh my gosh, it's everywhere now.
Yeah.
And then
'cause
the
it's like
terrific Guillermo joke.
oh, so good, right? Not that Guillermo. Like, again, I go back and forth with how I feel overall about his performance. I think I was really enjoying him probably for the first half, and then I think the slap jokes started to get stale near the end of the night. But for the most part,
he went back to it a little bit. I think at a certain point, even people on Twitter were sort of reacting, just leave it. You know, you did it at the top. You don't need to come back to it. I think that, you know, it's kind of stale, right? Sort of stale to kind of go back to that bag of tricks. But yeah, I think that he did a great job. This Oscars felt like a return to form like a return to the tradition, which he, very much openly said in the opening monologue. We're putting in all the awards back in. We're doing all 23. Your time is going to be very monitored, if you will. And I appreciate that. It's funny, the last few years have been the Oscars trying to switch things up to create more retention, to get people to tune in more. They had a 12% increase this year on the Oscars viewership, and they went back to the way they used to do things. So again, I think maybe it just goes to show there's nothing to really change about these awards. You know what I mean? Like just do them as you would, and I guess properly adjust based on the timing, and everyone just needs to be in agreement and an understanding that there's 23 awards. There's a limited amount of time. Get in, get out, say thank you, do your thing, and that's it.
I do think I would appreciate, though, if I was to give a little bit of constructive criticism for maybe a little of, again, we've talked about this before, ways that they could improve the overall audience, right? A 12% increase is because they want to see the jokes about Will Smith's slap. Like that's the 12% increase. I think, however, having the premiere of the trailer, the first full trailer for The Little Mermaid, would have been great if they played it in that moment instead of saying go online, leave what you're looking at right now to go onto the internet to view this trailer. I think, I love what Jeff Keighley does with the Video Game Awards, where it really is you're showing up at the Video Game Awards, you're celebrating the people who make the games, and you're also there for those announcements. Like if we could get trailers that nobody has really heard of before that are popping up at the Oscars, like how cool would that be to be able to and again,
that's
I get it.
More
it's
going
to be more time. I
More
understand.
time. Yeah. And I mean that was probably the most controversial outside of maybe the reaction to Best Supporting Actress, which maybe we'll talk about that, but. It was a little controversial that they played a teaser trailer in the middle of the Oscars, considering up until 2008, you couldn't even play trailers or advertise movies during commercial breaks. You were just not allowed to do it at all during the Oscars. And then when they made the switch to allow it in 2008, the rule changed that you couldn't do movies that had been nominated or were nominated that evening. But I mean, so it was a bit controversial to then have Disney be allowed to come out and promote their own movie in the middle of the show, with some people even suggesting that it was almost an agreement that the Academy let Disney do that if their company ABC would allow them to present all of the awards on the show. And so that had some people talking for sure.
Yeah, and I think that entirely makes sense. I think the other surprise, which I didn't even realize until after, was that the lead actress in Triangle of Sadness, Charlie Dean Crick, wasn't acknowledged in the memoriam portion of the show, which I thought was a bit of a shocker when I found out that after. I was like, she wasn't in it.
Well, I mean, like the in memoriam was kind of a interesting segment because I mean, I made the joke earlier about Travolta, but he came out and gave a beautiful little tribute to co-star Olivia Newton-John.
Yeah,
he talked about those that we lost, saying they've touched our hearts, they've made us smile, and became dear friends who will always remain hopelessly devoted to. I thought that was really nice, but it was interesting who they did leave out. We've got Paul Sorvino wasn't there, and so his daughter, tweeted later, like, the Academy might have forgotten my father, but we never will. And Hayes
Kevin
wasn't
Conroy
mentioned. Yeah, Kevin.
Sorry,
there was quite a few omissions this year because even I thought it was a really quick sort of zoom through.
I can see why Kevin Conroy might have been left out, only because he hasn't really been acknowledged by the Academy. But I get it. Like he's someone of Hollywood's talent. Do you know what I mean? But that to me is okay, because everyone in that category, you see cinematographers, production designers, on-set photographers, they're all people that take part in making the movies, and I think that and have been a part of the Academy in some vein. Maybe that's part of the reason why she was left out originally, but I don't know. It seemed a bit strange given the fact that the movie was nominated for Best Picture and was nominated for a variety of other awards. But so I thought it was a bit odd to not include her in the in memoriam portion.
Bit odd, but again, it's always nice to. It's sad, obviously, but it's always nice to see. Oh, right, we did lose them this year. Names like James Caan, Angela Lansbury, amongst others. It's always one of the
Kel Welsh.
Always one of the nicest, most poignant moments of the evening. But obviously, we're all here for the awards and the winners and everything, everywhere, all at once. Absolutely cleaned up last night.
Woo.
Justin was fist pumping. There were tears of joy before and during speeches. It was almost as fun to watch his reaction, being such a big fan of the movie, as it was to watch the winners themselves.
Yeah, I don't think I won our pool, but I do feel like I won overall, just because this movie means a lot to me, and to see it recognized across the board in the categories that matter, to see the cast be, recognized, Michelle Yeoh, Ke Kwan, Jamie Lee Curtis, and then to see the Daniels both recognized as directors and writers for telling this story, and then the entire movie being recognized for Best Picture. It floored me. I was so happy. I've been on an emotional ride for the last 24 hours. It's been good. Literally, I went to bed dreaming of googly eyes in the multiverse with Evelyn Wang. So I don't know. This movie deserved all of the flowers, and I'm so happy for all the awards it received. Even right down to editing, it deserved every award it won. It was emotional. I don't think I was with company, obviously, but I'm pretty sure if I was alone, I probably would have bawled a lot harder at Ke Kwan's speech, because it really got me. And I think, again, as we were talking about it in the pre-show, to see this comeback journey, to see him take all of these awards, and it's one of those things you can prepare yourself, and you're like, yeah, he's gonna win this award, he's gonna win it. And as soon as they announced his name, the tears started, and then as soon as he got up on stage, it got heavier and heavier. And yeah, I just think that to see that story unfold, to see the journey of this entire movie, it's bravo. I'm so happy.
Well, I mean, it's the year of dreams, right? And I think for A24, it's such an incredible, kind of, they won pretty much everything, which is nuts. Like, not just Everything Everywhere, but with The Whale. And yeah, with Key, I think I literally, the moment I started completely bawling and tearing up is Ariana DeBose just saying his name as she's announcing it, and she was so happy, and I'm like, oh, let's go. And the fact that they had Troy up there with her, as they were the last year's supporting actors, was just so good.
Well, and then getting to see your indie short round reunion when it won Best Picture, which is really his journey coming completely full circle. I think that was awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
Incredible.
Now, Everything Everywhere also won for Best Supporting Actress with Jamie Lee Curtis. Her reaction of "shut up," as they said her name, was terrific. There's another tiny little bit of controversy there surrounding fellow nominee Angela Bassett. I think it's being blown way out of proportion. I think, it was a real moment. She was disappointed, but I don't think it takes away anything from Jamie Lee Curtis's win. So I think people are unnecessarily making something out of that.
Yeah, I think I totally agree. I think that she's human. She's allowed to feel that defeat. She didn't run up there and slap her. You know what I mean? Like, she sat there. She obviously looked unhappy, but at the same time, it's like, I'd get it. If I was her, I'd feel the same way. It is hard to put on that face when you really are looking and hoping that award goes to you, and especially given what Angela Bassett's motivated by, the idea of being a black female to win this award. I think that meant a lot to her, and I think she maybe put that on her as being a super, super important. But again, I do think that, I'm not going to say that Jamie Lee didn't deserve it. She definitely delivers in Everything Everywhere All at Once. But that said, I do think Angela Bassett's performance in Black Panther Wakanda Forever stuck with me more than Jamie Lee Curtis. And Angela Bassett will have her time to shine. It just wasn't last night.
I just think, though, because and again, the Twitter is the worst, and you're gonna go down a rabbit hole of terrible opinions, and some of them are ours. But I think the big thing is. I really do think that she should have taken it. I think Angela Bassett should have taken this award.
It was more memorable of a role.
Absolutely,
it was a more memorable
and that's
performance.
the biggest problem is like people in as I mentioned, like I'm going down the rabbit hole of tweets. I'm seeing a tweet come up that says something in line of like, well, it was like a legacy award. And first off, that's a little upsetting and insulting because it kind of does take away from the incredible performance Jamie Lee does give in Everything Everywhere All at Once. However, if we were looking at like the right time to give an award to Angela Bassett, it was for this performance in Wakanda Forever. Listen, she'll do another movie. She'll be phenomenal, and maybe I'll be eating my words at that point, and she'll get the Oscar. But I really think she deserved it for this performance.
I just don't think Academy voters are ready to a comic book movie, right or wrong.
Snobbery.
I just
It's the worst.
Yeah, it is. I mean,
worst.
but there's progress being made there, right? Like the
Deakins-
Globes finally did it. So
Yep. Deakins went on the record and said that the best cinematography was not nominated for an Oscar, and that was The Batman from Greg Fraser, which I feel vindicated for. But at the same time, to hear, an Oscar winner of cinematography acknowledge that the Academy has a sense of snobbery to it, that it wouldn't consider the Batman, because even he says the innovation that Greg Fraser pursued with that film embraces the idea of cinematography. And I think it's really great that someone like Deakins comes out openly and acknowledges the sense of snobbery that the Academy has by not giving the movie the recognition that it deserves because it's a comic book movie.
But Top
And I think
Gun is not as serious a movie. Avatar:
But
The
it's
Way of Water is a sci-fi movie, and you're not going to let Star Wars in this race. Like just I don't know, man. It's just again, it's really frustrating. It sucks. It just sucks, and I really hope they make it.
If those movies are in there strictly because they brought back the theater going experience,
but for technical reasons, not Best Picture reasons, in my opinion.
Sure.
Anyway.
yeah,
Sure.
I mean, we were talking last night, and I think there's 2 or 3 movies out of those 10 best picture nominees that probably don't deserve to be there. I do just want to quickly say, before moving on from Jamie Lee Curtis, that it is pretty incredible to have seen her up there to win an award that both of her parents were each nominated for and didn't win. I think that was probably a pretty incredible moment for her to have up there, finishing off with, I won an Oscar. It was really, really nice. But no, the best picture race and some of the nominees are definitely something you're going to talk about every year. Is it deserving? Is it worthy? Do they need to have 10, or should it just be as many up to 10 that are actually deserving to be there?
Well, we were debating this last night, Kevin, about every movie in the Best Picture getting some sort of sense of recognition. And I actually found this tweet from Dancin' Dan in Austin Land. I don't actually know his tweet handle. I just see his name here. But this is the first time since the Best Picture expansion in 2009 that half of the Best Picture lineup has gone home empty-handed.
Wow.
Elvis, Tar, The Banshees of Inisherin, Fabelmans, and The Triangle of Sadness all won nothing. Wow. So it does raise the question. You're absolutely right, Kevin. Why are these movies in this category if they're not getting anything? Personally, I'm okay that Elvis walked away with nothing. You know what I mean? Like, I'm fine with that. You know what I mean? I'm okay with Tar and even The Fabelmans not really getting anything. But sure, it's getting acknowledged. Why is it getting acknowledged? Goes back to that original conversation we're having around comic book movies and should they be in this category? Should they be acknowledged by the Academy? It's a sense of snobbery, right? Like, it's a sense of like, oh, this is a movie that has great performances and an ambiguous narrative that has people thinking, right? Or this is something that celebrates Hollywood. It feels like many of these movies are here just for the sake of saying, like, they were good.
Well, I mean, Banshees is a terrific movie. Whether I enjoyed it because of, its very depressing nature, it's a terrific movie. To see it get shut out 0 for 8, I mean, I made some of my picks in a different Oscar pool that I do every year, based on the fact that Banshees has to win something. Where is that going to be? But so to see it get shut out, for 8 awards, I don't think that suggests that it doesn't belong there. So no, I think it's really tough not to be snobby when it comes to saying, well, this movie deserves it and this movie does not. Another highlight I thought was Guillermo del Toro winning for Best Animated. Even though I liked Marcel the Shell, with Shoes On better, to see Guillermo win his 3rd Academy Award is pretty awesome, considering just how lovable the guy is.
And they kicked things off right away with that category, and I was really happy they did, because I think it was the one that I was most anticipating, just in the sense of, like, it was such a stacked category, such a toss-up. I did think the introduction with Dwayne and Emily Blunt was a little awkward. I don't know if they didn't talk to each other about how they were going to go ahead and do this, with Emily trying to, like, follow the joke of let's hurry things along, and then Dwayne trying to essentially say sorry for the comments that were made about the category last year. And I think he said some really lovely things about it, but it came off a little strange.
It was awkward.
It was very awkward.
The joke did not land, I don't think.
No.
I think the joke was supposed to go from Jimmy, saying, like, be fast, be quick, don't waste any time. They were clearly wasting time right off the top. Getting to that description was so clunky that it took away from the overall description and the importance. I was actually, after he got through it, I was like, damn, whoever wrote that for The Rock to read, good for them. But can we just say, starting the awards off with animation, thank you to the Academy for doing that.
That was cool.
And to actually have Guillermo come up there and probably give one of the single best speeches in regards to animation and the art form of animation. Almost kind of feels like a plea for the Academy and everyone in that audience to really change their perspective and consider animation differently. This isn't something that is just a genre-based film for kids. This is this has the power of storytelling. It is cinema. I just love that sentiment. It really did kick off the Oscars in the best way imaginable.
And not only was it a plea to the Academy to give this art form the respect it deserves, I kind of liked it because it was almost a challenge that he was putting out to other creators to continue to raise the bar of what we can expect from animation as an art form. He really was saying, look at how far we've come. Just imagine where we can take this thing. I really thought that was a powerful sentiment to cap off his celebration with. And then, we've talked about Ke Kwan's big, amazing, triumphant comeback win. There was another comeback last night as well with Brendan Fraser winning the Best Actor. I mean, I was a little surprised just because Austin Butler had been dominating at the award shows leading up to this, but I do think the trophy went to the right person, and his appreciation for what he's been able to overcome to get to that point, to be able to stand at that podium and receive an Oscar from his peers was really powerful stuff.
Yeah, it was really, between his speech and Key's, like, I was just bawling my face off. I'm so happy for him, and I hope honestly this means that we just get another proper The Mummy. Can we just get another Mummy movie? Bring him back. He said in interviews
Bring back
he's
Michelle
so down.
Yeoh.
Like, dude, Michelle Yeoh and Brendan Fraser in The Mummy. Oh, come on, let's go.
They did the fourth one together, right? Was it the fourth one that they?
The third one,
or was it the third one? The third one,
which wasn't very good. It's kind of the movie they need to sort of atone for. It's kind of like Indy's coming back with a fifth one because the fourth one was such a letdown. Now we need a fourth Mummy to give Rick O'Connell the proper send-off that one of my all-time favorite action-adventure characters truly deserves.
Well, speaking of mummies, I mean, I think it was lovely how in pretty much every single acceptance speech given from the cast of Everything Everywhere All at Once and the directors, every single one of them shouted out their moms, and with the subject matter of the movie being so focused on
Absolutely.
Evelyn's relationship, like it was beautiful. It was such a lovely sort of you have to imagine like it's not something they talked about ahead of time, but it's so lovely that they all have that on the brain because
of the movie, yeah.
because of the movie. It's just, I don't know, it was really cute.
It was adorable.
Yeah, and to see the honesty, the excitement in the Daniels, like how real they are. You know, Scheinhardt and Kwan are so down to earth, and it really does show in their speeches. You know, they kept it somewhat formal, but they also got a little real with the audience in regards to their past. You know, I love that Daniel Scheinhardt called out his school teachers. Mr. Hudson was one of them.
Yes,
yeah,
you're welcome.
good job,
You're
Kevin.
welcome, Daniel.
It's probably in another universe that you taught him. You know, Daniel Kwan just, you know, really just calling out the idea of like his own sort of introverted nature of, you know, not really realizing he was a storyteller without the partnership of Daniel Scheinhardt, like to kind of tell him that he is this storyteller. I just loved it. It was just such a celebratory moment for them, for this movie, to see them up on there just being so real and honest. Fuck, it was so good. It was so good.
Well, and not only did the Daniels and Everything Everywhere All at Once get to take the big stage, so did you already mentioned it, Nate. So did Cocaine Bear. That was one of the bigger surprises of the evening. I noticed that the Cocaine Bear earlier in the day tweeted out just the hashtag Academy Awards with the little emoji, and I thought, why would Cocaine Bear be talking about this? Well, it was a teaser for the eventual appearance. That was certainly one of the odder cameos I can remember at the Academy Awards.
Definitely.
Yeah. Is there any other winners or losers or surprises that stood out from the big show?
Well, I'll just say Michelle Yeoh, I'm so happy she has an Academy Award now. So deserving. We all knew it was going to happen. And also, I guess another little surprise, All Quiet on the Western Front took home more awards than I thought it needed to, but it obviously resonated with audiences.
Well, I think the night was filled with some really wonderful moments. I mean, we had those lovely Irish. Was it the Irish gentleman that came out and had the audience sing "Happy Birthday" for that young man?
Yes, that was really, really nice. What a moment he'll never forget.
I thought that was really lovely. I thought there were just a ton of, like, again, for every sort of awkward moment or even the sort of getting over the sting of not seeing Angela take the award, in my opinion, there were so many lovely moments. I think getting to see the performance of Natu Natu was incredible. M.M. Kiravani and Chandra Bose winning Best Original Song for Natu Natu, and then having him come out and he's just singing a song to the audience about winning the award. I'm just like, that is so lovely, and it's these lovely moments that I think we really, really needed at this year's awards, and it really brought the overall ceremony up for me quite a bit. It's just these moments of people being people, and that's what happens when you allow people to talk about the things that they've just won an award for. So more of that. I would have taken maybe 3 less Will Smith slap jokes and a little bit more time for those folks to speak, but otherwise, this was such a marked improvement for the Academy Awards this year.
It's the best show I can remember in years, and not just a few years, many, many years. From, Kimmel did a pretty good job as host, to amazing speeches, the right people winning at the right times for the most part, and having 2 of the last 3 awards being marred by controversy between the slap and then the envelope mishap. It was just nice that this show sort of kept itself together and was far more positive than negatives to be said about the show in general. But before we wrap up, there is the most important piece of news to discuss.
Yes.
And that's obviously our annual Oscar competition, where we guessed our picks to win 13 of our favorite awards. And it was the winner this year got 12 out of 13 correct.
Whoa.
The champ is here. The crown is going back on the rightful head. I am the winner. Again, with 12 out of 13. Nate, you had 10. Justin, you got 9 right. So we all did pretty well. But and I'm just upset that I made the correct choices in our prediction thing. But then when we do our for money pool on the side there, I changed some of those answers, and it cost me dearly.
Unfortunate. Well, listen, Kevin, we shared the crown last year, I believe, right? So I'm happy that it at least it still fits your head. Your head's big enough, so
It certainly is. It
wasn't too stretched out.
No, the crown fits better than those crowns you get out of the Christmas crackers every year. Those
Yeah,
never
where they
fit
just
my big
break
melon.
every time.
Yeah, exactly.
So good.
But just be prepared for the next year for any time I'm hosting a show to introduce myself as the Oscar prediction champion.
For
Because
now.
you know it's going to happen. Well, that does it for our award season coverage. We can't wait to see what movies released over the next 10 months will earn nominations for the 2024 Academy Awards. And you know we'll be here with our annual predictions and review shows to give you our thoughts on all the biggest Oscar news. Thank you so much for joining us today. We'd love to know what winners or losers shocked or delighted you the most. You can do that at wearegeekcentric@gmail.com. Or if that's a bit too much like Hugh Grant being interviewed by Ashley Graham on the red carpet, hit us up on Twitter at GeekcentricYT and Instagram at WeAreGeekcentric. While we're done with Oscars for this year, we have plenty of incredible content you can check out wherever you listen to podcasts. Specifically, if you're like us and can't get enough Star Wars, we currently have 2 weekly watch clubs going on right now. One for Star Wars The Bad Batch Season 2, which we bring you every Wednesday, and to quote Yoda's dying words, there is another. We also have our watch club for The Mandalorian Season 3 with new episodes out each Friday. And speaking of The Mandalorian, we also have interviews out now with The Mandalorian director and series producer Rick Famuyiwa, as well as Bo-Katan Kryze herself, Katie Sackhoff, where Justin had the chance to chat with them both and discuss their role in the larger Mandalorian story. So go give those episodes a listen right here on your podcast service of choice, or you can check out those interviews on YouTube at youtube.com/geekcentric. We also have so many exciting reviews and interviews coming your way over the next few weeks and months. Woohoo! So stay tuned for those. But until then, Justin, Nate, thanks for joining me. And as we say,
Love ya.
get home safe, guys.
Peace.